All right, we're back doing a quick solo cast about protein recommendations. I saw this post or this podcast with Dr. Peter Attia, and they're talking about how it's confusing when you see the RDA, so the regulatory body for dietitians, to comment on their recommendations for protein intake being about zero point 0.4 grams per pound. And if you ever join us on our platform, we often recommend 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of ideal body weight. So that's a significant difference. It's about twice as different. And why the discrepancy? Where did this 0.4 grams per pound come from? And basically, long story short, that 0.4 is for substance, for you to survive. Based on studies they've looked at for nitrogen excretion. So basically looking at the minimum amount of protein intake for you to survive. These are older studies that were looking at this, and that's where that 0.4 came from. And when you think about this in 2025, where we're at, surviving isn't good enough. We want longevity. We want to be able to have that health span. And for us to be able to achieve that, I'm telling you wholeheartedly, in this environment of poor metabolic health, this is so important that we amp up our protein intake. So you might ask yourself, it's 0.7 to 1 gram. Is it safe? Am I going to put my kidneys at risk? Am I going to be putting my health at risk or my loved ones at risk? And as far as I could see, there is no clear evidence to support that increasing your protein intake is going to be dangerous. I'm not seeing clear evidence that's going to damage your kidneys. Certainly, we make recommendations on protein intake on liver disease and dialysis patients or chronic renal disease patients, chronic kidney disease. I'm going to leave that group out. I'm talking about your average healthy person that wants to live a healthy, long life. And one of the aspects of having that health span, staying and being strong, is avoid frailty. And this is a super hack when it comes to avoiding frailty, increasing that lean muscle by putting on that, by simply increasing your protein intake, you're going to increase your lean muscle mass for sure. And as we age, that becomes more and more of a challenge. There's nothing in your body that's more metabolically active than muscle. So if you are somebody that is struggling with their blood sugar, you're struggling with the control of their diabetes, you're struggling controlling your weight, you're struggling controlling your cravings, this is why amping up your protein intake is magical. All the stuff comes into place when you increase your protein intake. So ultimately, when I look at the RDA recommendations and I look at what our goal is, most of our goals are, it's not just to survive, it's to thrive. So if you are that person that is just looking to get by, or say you are someone that you worry more on the environmental side, you don't like the idea of ingesting animal protein, so you're vegan or vegetarian, and it's more important to you ethically to be more balanced from that perspective. Like, there's a bunch of caveats for sure, and to each their own. But I'm looking at the people that are trying to live a longer, stronger life. This is a step. And out of all the stuff that we talk about on the show, we talk about in our book, Prevention Over Prescription, bam, bam, protein intake is your number one lever. I was hearing on the show, too, that they were saying stuff like, at a societal level, we haven't really produced anything to make our society more healthy. And one of the guys on the Atia show was talking about how if we maybe had more, not education on health and wellness, but just education in general, that people weren't on the margins and allowed them to have more options and stay more active and eat higher, better quality foods, maybe that would be the answer. I still beg to differ. If most of us thought about our protein intake and if that was front and center, I honestly feel like we'll be in a better spot. And I could be wrong here. I could be wrong that still the overwhelm of processed foods ultra processed foods will nip us in the bud. Maybe we become less active with all the advancements in technology and so forth. But I don't know. I think this one's worth a try, guys. And what is important to me is that we be the change. This is what we preach in our house. You hear my boys talking about their protein intake. You'll hear them talk about their guide to smoothies and the impact that's how they feel and how they're responding to that. And I'll use my wife as an example. She's done multiple things to improve her health. Protein intake has been front and center as well, amongst many other things. But all this to say, crew, we change that lever. We focus on protein intake, that 0.7 to 1 gram of ideal body weight. I can guarantee you something will change. Are you going to look like Schwarzenegger? No. Are you going to, completely transform your body? Not necessarily, but that will get you in the right direction. Your energy will be up. You'll be stronger. Your blood sugar is going to be better. I feel like your mood, my humble opinion, your mood will be better because of the less fluctuations in blood sugar. That's editorializing. That's just my humble opinion. But guys, we could do this. Eat the same food, but double up that protein on that plate. It's going to be delicious and nutritious. Anyways, I just heard Mama Bear just got into his house. So I'm going to jump off. Great to connect. And remember, yes, you might read that 0.4 grams per pound of weight, but that's not going to get you to thrive. And we're all about thriving on prevention over prescription. All right, folks, thanks for listening. Peace.